Today we'll be talking about a very, very controversial topic, the word akata. Yeah.
The word akata is a Yoruba word meaning a wild cat or fox. When you look at the history of the blacks here, anything less than being identified as a human or calling them triggers a trauma.
See where it comes from, where if you refer to someone who is African American as less than a human being, the next thing is an animal that it's gonna be the next, because we've heard them. People say, we've seen videos where a white person can call a black person a monkey, and that's a big problem.
So the word akata may have originated from a place of envy, right? You just envy people and like, oh man, I wish I was free to do whatever I want.
So now, looking at it from that aspect, from the negative connotation that comes with it, what do you think the gravity, the magnitude of that word compared to the N word is? Hello and welcome back to the show. Today we'll be talking about a very, very controversial topic, the word akata. Yeah, you heard it right. It's such a controversial topic in the US that it kind of rolls heads in such a way that at this point it's becoming very offensive and depending on your perspective of the word. So we'll be talking about the word from our from our experience and maybe we can like enlighten more people out there. And so that brings me to my first question. Why do you think that word akata is such a controversial word?
I can see why people have issues with it, right? As Nigerians, we tend to talk in riddles and parables and proverbs. Kind of that's just how we talk. So the word akata is a Yoruba word meaning a wild cat or fox. Now, if you don't understand how the culture is and you take it at face value, somebody calls you a wild cat, obviously you take offense to it and say, hey, you know. But when you start learning more about cultures, it may not mean the same thing, right? Especially cultures that talk in riddles and parables, it may not be an offensive thing. It could actually be something nice, right? We come from cultures where we don't look our elders in the eye. So you move to the US and you have to look people in the eye, right in the face, to show that you're trustworthy. You see how those two things could be, seen one way, and it's not necessarily that's offensive. It's just learning different cultures helps. So I think knowing the meaning of the word without the context is what's causing. And I'm not saying it's not said in a bad way. But what I'm just saying is just understanding that it could shed some light on why the term even came to be. Something I heard moving to the States for the first time,
I'm
right?
going to go to that too. Yeah. So why do you think it's controversial?
Yeah, so I agree with what you just said. So personally, I didn't know about that word akata until I came into the United States and also did some research to understand what the word means. It's Nigerian, it's from the Nigerian origin, and what it means, like you explained, a wild cat or fox. About the controversy, I think, like you said, it's the context of the of the meaning you give to it and attributes to yourself or to someone else in terms of why it's being called, why people are being referred to to us akata or what it means. So, but me personally, I have my own reservations. Why? Because, like we said, context is people would take it some other way, and other people will see it for what it is, or see some other good attributes to what the word is. If you say Akata means a wild cat, or cat, sorry, or a fox or something like that. So there are also good attributes to a cat, whether wild or
Whether wild or
Domesticated.
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 Yeah.
So a lot, at least, especially cats. And when you want to go spiritual, the spiritual significance of animals. Cats are one of the strong strong animals. So I think people just refer to the word as you are referring you're referring it to the general word animal. That's what people see it as. That's I think that's where the
Yeah.
issue is, and that's where the context
That's another point to
of
look at it.
yeah. So that's where there's a lot of controversy about the word. They're not going deep into the reason why or if there are any other good attributes to the word itself. They're just going to figure it out that this means animal.
Yeah.
And if you call me an animal, I'm less than a human being, or I'm, crazy. Animals, some people have a conception of that. Animals are all over the place. They no control, they're, yeah, there's no rule of engagement with them. Like, they just,
Or some sense of decency kind of thing.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Which is not always true.
which is that's the thing that is causing the controversy here. People are seeing it as just that. That's what it means is because of the animal. They're not even going to understand why this was brought about. What was the reason? And like you said, we're talking riddles back home in Africa.
Before we go there, because there's a question regarding both, of course, back home. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, before you say, let me just jump in now. My first time of actually seeing the word or hearing the word Akata was when I got into college. And like I don't know if I've told you this before, in Yabatech, the female hostel is kind of separated from the rest of. So it's kind of gated, and just on the gates there's the word Akata. So I've always had this feminine connotation to that attached to that word. So, but when I got to the US, everything just hit me differently, and I'm like, why are they? Why? Like when I heard it, I was like, what do you mean? Like when they say Akata, Akata, I was like playing along at first, like, oh, maybe they're talking about a girl. Then it hit me that it has a different meaning here. So, what was your reaction when you first heard the word Akata, or where did you first hear it, and how did you like considering the context it was used here?
I heard the word Akata when and it was another Nigerian saying Akata, and I was like, what is that? It's like,
Was it here or abroad? Also?
here in the US.
In the US.
It's a word, I never heard the word before. It's just something that was kind of strange. I was like, Akata, okay, well, and then it's, it's African Americans or Black Americans. I'm like, why? Why are we using the word Akata? But going back to what you just said, why would you call a female dom, right, hostel, Akata?
They may have changed it now, but
No,
then
no. But think about it. From when you look at cats, when a cat is sitting down, there's a reason why ancient cultures worship cats. We have the Egyptians, right?
Yeah.
You go to different parts of the world, cats are they have a very feminine, very, even lions. There's a, when you look at the silhouette of a cat, there's something attractive about it. And even here in the US, we call that cat. I've heard people use cat to describe women, and it's in a sexy way because there's something mysterious, something just. There's a shape to a cat on its own that's very attractive. Let's not even look at just the silhouette, right? So when you say a cat or a kitty, when you say kitty, what do you refer to? Outside of the cat itself, if you're referring to a kitty, a human, it's usually female because there's something,
something feminine,
something that draws you towards that girl, right? So it's not always bad, But going back, and something you said I was going to interject earlier, is when you look at the history of the blacks here, anything less than being identified as a human or calling them triggers a trauma, right?
Yeah.
Because for them, it's like we went through a period of time when we're three-fifths of a man, right? So when you call them anything and you use an animal, that will trigger a
It
trauma
triggers.
response, which is what we're seeing, as opposed to could there have been another reason behind it, right? And for me, that's, again, if somebody's offended by it, obviously we don't want to keep using the word, but I think maybe this also has given all of us a chance to say, let's actually dig more into African cultures. Because let's understand where our people came from. We're still one people, right? Let's figure out what it is that makes them different. And by doing so, you realize there's a lot we all have in common. There's things may sound weird to you. I remember when before Afrobeats became big, right? I remember people would play videos of Africans whining, moving their waist, right? Men moving their waist, and
Yeah.
a lot of African Americans were very like, "Oh my God,
Yeah, looking at it, it's very strange.
it's very strange. Why are you dancing like that, like a woman?" And then Afrobeats got big, and Chris Brown is doing backflips and is dancing with Wizkid and is doing all this. Is released, his own Afrobeats kind of tunes, and suddenly it's acceptable because you realize it's a culture. It's different from you. It doesn't make it bad. It's just a
Yeah.
culture. The more you learn about other cultures, the more you appreciate people in general.
I agree, and yeah, that was a good follow up because I was getting there.
Yeah, you're getting there. I didn't want you
I was
to.
getting there. I didn't want to. Well, when you
Yeah.
interjected, I had to stop. But yeah, that's it. That's the thing. So it can actually trigger. See where it comes from. Where if you refer to someone who is African American as less than a human being, the next thing is an animal that it's gonna be
Yeah.
the next, because we've heard them. People say we've seen videos where some white person can call a black person a monkey, and that's a big problem because it is the thing. So whether you refer to as a cat that has significant positive attributes, or a monkey who also may have significant, positive attributes in terms of strength, of the way they are flexible and everything. But the fact that it is classified in general as an animal, it's offensive to people, and we can understand that. But let's bring it back to cultures. Let's digress a little bit from the Akata and Nigerian
Yeah.
culture because of the origin of the word. Every other culture have the same way they have a word they refer to a different race. Is
True.
it Asians? Is it Haitians? Even within the black race,
Yeah. Yeah. Very
there's a
true.
way they refer to each other and other black people around them. So I think it is just the meaning that has been attached and has been known to be just that one word. Oh, it's an animal, and that's where the problem is. I was working a long time in Texas with some Mexican people too, who they have their own word that they call black people.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't know what the meaning of what the word is, but it is. They said the word. I forgot about the word, but that word I was told that was what was being called or referred to as black people, and so people from different culture have what they call people. It's just now normal how people, relate, communicate, and do stuff. But yeah, I can see where you know people will take offense with the word, but I think they should have a deeper understanding, like you said, come together and let's even learn more about this culture and what it's all about, and not just the negative part of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so do you think, because I know the word didn't just start maybe in the past century. I know
It's been around.
it's been around a long time. So do you think, let's assume when it started, let me refer to those people as older Nigeria,
Generation.
or older generations. Yeah. Do you think they meant that word differently compared to the generation of nowadays?
Well, knowing how Nigerians talk, because we talk in riddles, you expected. No, it's just how we're raised, right? We're low context people. You're expected to read between the lines, read body cues, and Americans are high context. So you say what you mean. You mean what you say. Kind of a culture. Those two cultures, in a way, clash, right? Because as a Nigerian, like, oh yeah, I'll be at your party. Yeah, I'll be at your party tomorrow. You're like the
Yeah.
way you said yeah. I'm not convinced. That's a no. You're
That's
just
enough.
being polite about
True,
it.
true.
Meanwhile, an American will say, I can't make it tomorrow. I've got a prior engagement or I have things I need to attend to. A Nigerian will probably say, yeah, I'll be there. You're like, you're not gonna be there. I already know the way you said yes
Yeah.
meant no, right? We're expected to pull the real information, the unspoken information, because 52% of more of our communication is nonverbal, right? And as Nigerians, you're trained to just
To
read
just read the
people.
body
You
language.
read the eyes, you read the way they said yes, no, maybe, all these things. At the time they're saying it, you're trained to analyze that.
Another example is when a Nigerian tells you, I'm coming, and they are going.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you now sit back and relax, oh, he said he's coming, then you're done for.
And I'm coming the way it's said can tell you if they're
Yeah.
actually on the way or
Yeah.
they're about to jump in the shower, right? I'm coming doesn't always mean I'm on my way. I'm coming could mean, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there when it's
I'll be there,
convenient for
yeah.
me,
Yeah.
not when it's convenient for you. And sometimes you have to say, hey, I need you here this time. Can you make it? But if you don't know that culture, right? And then again, the question we should be really asking is, the word akata you saw in Nigeria, it was meant for female hustles and women, and we're talking about people using it in a way that it could be attractive, right? Like cat, oh, mysterious women, oh, because it's behind the gate. You're like, oh, can we get in? As boys, you're like, oh, can we?
Yeah.
What do we need to do to get behind their fence? Because we're on the other side, right? But then the word akata originate or started being used to describe African Americans or Black Americans during the colonial era, right? When we were colonized by the British. Because the word akata could easily mean, oh, you guys, we're the house cats. Even though this is our space, we're being told, because colonialism is it's such a weird concept, right? Somebody comes into your house, tells you how to dress, how to speak, how to be. And that's not where it ends. It's you need to become us. It's a weird concept, right? So for somebody saying Akata, like we're house cats, we everything that we do is solely dependent on this group of people that they've taken over, and now we're forced to do things their way. Just the same way we force our house cats to behave a certain way in order to be fed, right? And you could see somebody on the other side and like, oh man, you guys are free. You're the wild ones. You can do whatever you want. You went through slavery and that was awful, and we all know what that is. But now you have some distance. You're allowed to be you, express yourself fully, whichever way you want, and that can be attractive to somebody on the other end looking at it like, man, we still, because we didn't get our independence from the British till 1960. So imagine looking at the African Americans after slavery was abolished, and segregation is still kind of going on around that time, but the time could have been more attractive to the
us.
people back home in Nigeria, right?
True.
And hence the wildcat is you're free to roam the world, live life on your own terms, while we're stuck here behind closed doors and we're forced to obey these people that just showed up one day and they're now saying the way you live is not right. right. You need to become us. Neglect your culture. I mean, which is, it's bad and it's not as worse as slavery, but to people on the other side, and what they're being told is you guys are free to roam. Because remember, they're not telling them about how awful segregation is for the blacks. They're just saying when they're no longer slaves, they can do whatever they want. And that message goes back home, and you say, "Ooh," and you're like, "Oh, I would wish we could get these people out of our country so we can live." So the word akata may have originated from a place of, it could have been from a place of envy, right? You just envy people and like, "Oh man, I wish I was free to do whatever I want. I can't. We had curfews, we had all this thing." So I don't know, but I'm just assuming that could have been how the word actually came to be when describing African Americans.
Yes, I agree. So I want to go back to like what actually maybe the mindset was at the time that the word was brought about from Nigeria, because I don't think when the slavery was going on,
No, that was
anybody
way
was
too. No, that was
right.
way ahead,
Uh-huh.
right?
Anybody was calling anybody Akata because
No.
everybody was feeling the stress of being taken from your country, going to another country, and becoming slaves at the time. So that word wasn't there at that time. So let's face. That's why I said let's go to the mindset, because the word Akata may have come from a very innocent
Genuine. Yeah.
yeah, origin, and the reason why they were called that, because it was when the world was shown the negative part of the black people who were always fighting for everything at the time after they've been taken as slaves. They had to fight for everything, every step of the way, to pee or go to a restroom where all human beings should be going to, but it was segregated, to vote, to be a full human being, to be seen and received as a full human being. You had to fight for the step of your way and your existence. So comparing a fighter with a cat, let's look at the cat family as in the animal kingdom. And the cat family, we have very big wild cats like the lions. You see, when they fight, they really fight because they have to get what they want and they fight. And so
Yeah, I see your point.
you see where I'm coming from. So it may be from an innocent standpoint that these people are always fighting. They're showing us that these people are always fighting. They're always fighting. They look like us. They're always fighting, and they're fighting like lions. They're fighting like because they had to fight at the time to survive. So that may have been the origin of the word, not emphasizing on the negative part
Correct.
of the aggressiveness to getting what they wanted at the time. So that's what I want us and as Africans and as African Americans to understand that sometimes some words can be taken out of context or can just be cherry picked on and find some certain part that's going to be annoying to people, and they hone in on it and make that the whole meaning of the word or the origin of it. So it might have not come from, and I think that's what it is. It didn't come from a place where it was malicious to anybody. It was just because of what was portrayed on the media and around the world, how this set of people are living in a certain place at a time. Don't forget about South Africa. It happened there. It happened the apartheid, right?
Yeah. That was rough.
So if you were in those times watching the TV and you're seeing people struggling, fighting, and trying to help themselves, what do you think about that kind of people? And it's a particular race. You understand? So what do you call, like, they were just referred to as what they were doing at the time, fighting for their existence. And in the jungle, who fights?
It's a
It's a
survival
Yeah,
of
it's
the
a
fittest,
survival
right?
thing, right? So That's it. That's it. But people have thrown away the positive outlook of that connotation of the word akata as a strong wild card who will defend himself, try to
Who
fight
won't
for
go down without a
without a
fight.
fight. Sure.
And I think that, and you're right, and there could have been different reasons why, and all these things could have been happening around the same time.
Time.
Like, it could be dueling, and people are like, man, these people have to fight for everything.
Man.
Even after, it could be, part of it could be jealousy. Like,
Right.
again, people need to understand that the world we live in now, go back 20 years, 30 years, was a different world. Media, we didn't have access to the internet the same way. We didn't have access to information the same way. And we know from experience that when people tell stories, right, how the story is told depends really on the position the storyteller is taking.
True.
So somebody could be showing videos of blacks here fighting for everything, like they got their freedom, they're still fighting. Somebody could be showing the same video saying, even after freedom, they still have to fight. It's the same video, but the narrative is completely different. And the word Akachi, I don't think, knowing how Nigerians function, Nigerians are very humorous people. They're always cracking jokes. Anyone that's around Nigerians as a foreigner, I saw videos today. That's one of the things. Nigerians just say things in ways that, and I encourage anyone watching this to go on TikTok in Nigeria. First of all, go look at what Nigeria looks like today. It's not what you've been told
Not what's being portrayed by the media.
by the media, right? But also just listen to people that are married to Nigerians, dating Nigerians, friends with Nigerians, and they will tell you one thing. There's one common theme. Nigerians talk in a different way from anyone else. It's a Nigerian way of interacting with the world. You can get that. You get that from Afrobeats too.
Right.
The beats is the way we sing is different, right? Nigerians engage with the world very differently from other cultures that I've seen. A Nigerian can tell you, and also it's again we're so common Nigerians, Africans and African Americans, like if somebody sees you and like, oh my God, oh, look at that shirt. It must be nice to be able to wear a shirt like that. What they're doing is complimenting. If you hear that,
Exactly.
you think they're being envious, but no, what they're saying is,
They're actually
man,
complimenting
they're
you.
complimenting you by
Right.
kind of dissing, you're making jabs at
Right.
you, but they're saying, man, like a Nigerian would not tell you, guys, for example, guys, you will not be like, oh, you look good today.
No.
No, that's you straightforward. You say something along like, look at your head and that hat. They are one and the same. And you're like, what? It's like, and it's a nice cap. You're like, why didn't you just say you look good? Why beat about the bush? But it's the Nigerian way.
Now, let me throw a little bit of wrench in that. So now we know, or from what the Black Americans are perceiving the word Akata to mean, they mean it in a derogative way. Now, let me give an example. If a Nigerian is to use the word Akata, especially a Yoruba, someone grounded in the Yoruba language and say, Akata Oshi. Now, it's just like saying, like the Billboard's comedy stand-up he did one day. He said, how a white American will refer to the N word or to the person's nationality before saying saying.
I know because
what the
I
person did.
I
You
love
understand what
watching
I'm
this.
saying?
I know exactly which skit you're talking about.
So now he's saying if a black person will say that, he will say that in the reverse way. Now, depending on the context at which the word Akata was used, it can be perceived, especially if the person you're talking about doesn't really understand what's going on, or it's not even in the picture. You understand? So now, looking at it from that aspect, from the negative connotation that comes with it, what do you think the gravity, the magnitude of that word compared to the N word is?
And I'll say this. So I grew up in Southern Africa, right? Lesotho to be exact. And foreigners from usually Western, Northern Africa, West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, there was a word that they called us, lekwerekwe. Now, a lot of people were offended by the word lekwerekwe. But, it's just lekwerekwe this, lekwerekwe that, and I'm around people.
Wait. They refer to you as a
You.
Nigerian living in Lesotho, or they
Yeah.
refer to every black person?
Every black person that's not from Southern
Okay,
Africa as a
okay.
lekwerekwe.
So that's
Right, and
It's
people
the
were
same
people.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tribalism, right? That exists within different tribes, and it's been around since humans have been in different factions and things. And people would get so mad, and for me, I was like, "What?" Because I've heard people refer to me as a lekwerekwe in a negative way, and I've heard friends call me lekwerekwe as a term of endearment. So the question, so because of that, it was hard for me to associate the word as something bad. But you can tell, for example, the word dog. People call each other, that's my dog.
Yeah.
Now, somebody else could say, that's dog, right? The word itself is not the problem, it is how it's used, right? So, like
Although
you,
they try, sorry for interjecting. Although they try to spell it differently, so you understand now.
Yeah.
But really,
it's still the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because then they'll ask you, I got a dog in me.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, right? And if you say you have a dog in you and you point at a chihuahua, right? That's the dog in you. You point at the chihuahua. Somebody's gonna be offended, and
Yeah.
they could end up swinging at you, right? But then you point at a dog, and it's a pit bull or Rottweiler, and then they're like, "Yep." They claim it,
yeah.
right? So it's the
That's
word itself is not the problem. It's how it's used. So and for me, when I ask the locals, what does liquere mean? Oftentimes they don't even know. And some people are like, no, it means they're calling us stupid. And the locals don't even know. So I'm like, then I can't take offense to it because some of my closest friends called me the same term. And these are people I hung out with pretty much 24/7. So you take it for what it is. You have to look at the context at that the word is being used. Somebody is calling you an akata with, and you can tell from the delivery that this is not in a positive way, right? They don't like you. It means they don't like you. Somebody could say it in a way that is friendly and like, oh no, it doesn't mean the same thing to them. So that's my take on that.
yeah, I think it takes understanding and the readiness to want to understand it. That's the thing, because like we said, information when transpired, the person has to be conscientious, like you said. It depends on if the story is told, the stand the person is taking, telling the story matters. So if you are African American and someone just came and told you, "Oh, do you know what those African guys call us or Nigerian guys? They call us akata, and it means animal." You're gonna take offense because you don't know the whole context of how it came about, why that was ever said. Like you said, you give the analogy. Oh, I got a dog in me, and you point at a chihuahua. Everybody's gonna like, what's going on here?
If I can be
But
offended.
you see some other African, like people also African American, other people will say big dog. You understand? So, and it's taken well.
Yeah.
It is accepted because you're calling somebody a big dog means a big shot, or big. In Nigeria, we
Or
say
some
big
kind of
fish too.
respect too.
They
Big
say
fish.
big fish, and nobody wants to associate themselves with
With sardines. With a
But-
goldfish,
when they say
a
when
prey.
they put the big in there, it's
Yeah.
like we already know what it means. You're a big shot or something like that. So that's how it is. And within the African American, they call some people coons. Like so, if you are acting some kind of way that they say it's not that I don't know who has brought that law, but that they say you're not acting according to the way the culture,
Yeah.
people in the
Mm-hmm.
culture
How you expected to act.
to
Reacting
act.
to, yeah.
You will be termed a coon even if you're Black American,
Yeah.
African American, born here.
Or
And
Uncle Tom. Or is that the
yeah,
one?
there's a lot of names that they also say they have their own words. Everybody have
True.
yeah.
But let's, because you guys lived in Texas, for a period of time. Let's go back to Texas for a second. Let's take a journey to Texas. If somebody says "bless your heart" in Texas, it's not always positive, right? The term, like when I first went to Texas and I heard "bless her heart," I was like, okay. But the word made sense, but the reaction, the facial expression didn't match what she was
Right.
saying. So I'm looking at her
So
like,
you
this wasn't
observe
said
that
in a
too.
bless her heart. I was like, this means something other than,
Other than
as a Nigerian, if somebody says bless her,
bless God, you know that
that's a good
it's a
thing.
good thing. Yeah.
But you go to Texas and somebody says bless her heart, and you're looking like, why did you have your face? Why was your face contact? You're like, now, okay, now you're like, something is off. This is not something positive. This is something negative. And that is the way it is. You can take a word or a sentence or a phrase and say it to five people, and they could mean five different things based on the tone, the delivery, your facial expressions,
All right.
or your hand gestures, right?
Someone, yeah, I agree with you. Someone can say "bless your heart" in Texas, and you feel like you're gonna die the next minute because the way they said it.
Said
Yeah.
it.
Like, or you're in the hospital and nurse say "bless your heart."
Yeah, you kind of like they're giving some kind of condolence
Yes,
speech or
it's almost
something.
done.
Exactly.
Right. So, and someone can say it somewhere around the other in the world, and it means, and it's taken
Something positive and
with gratitude,
encouragement,
and like it's like a prayer
Yeah.
to the
You
person.
say that to a Nigerian,
Yeah.
they think you're praying for them.
Yes.
You're praying for that person.
Right.
Meanwhile, in Texas, if you don't understand the culture and you don't pay attention to everything else around the delivery, you just heard the word, right, without seeing everything else, you will think they actually like the person.
Right.
Meanwhile, they could have a serious dislike for this
You're
individual.
right.
And this is the power of learning about other cultures, because you start to learn like, oh, even though it sounded offensive, it wasn't meant that way. Now, it doesn't negate the fact that you're offended by it initially, but again, it puts you off. Like, there are people here, they're like, I once watched a video clip of this lady saying, she was, I don't know, she was in politics and she's like, I don't want to be called an African. Don't call me a stupid African. And she said it. And this was years ago. I can't even find the video. And I went to the comment because that was kind of a strange thing, you know. And people, there was a guy's like, don't call me stinking African. You rather call me the N word than call me an African. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What Africans have you encountered? Right? That you would rather be called the N word, which is something that came from a place of anger and hatred
And pain.
and pain and suffering, than be called an African. And this is how things work when people don't. I think we have to. I think that history shapes perspective. We need to all understand where everyone is coming from in order to better relate. We have so much in common. We have more similarities than differences, really. More similarities than differences, and yet Africans, African Americans, and Afro Latinos, right? Africans are seen as poor, African Americans are seen as dysfunctional, and Afro Latinos, no one even cares about them. We act like they don't even exist. Just in Mexico, a stone throw, nation from us to here, they had, because they also had slaves, they had black slaves in Mexico, And this came from a Mexican that actually told me, because I didn't know that, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, there are black slaves in Mexico. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's funny. At the time, he's like, we don't even recognize the black people, the black Mexicans, we don't talk about them in Mexico. So I went online. This was, I think, 2013, and I saw Mexicans that were, the facial features were definitely not African. They look more Mexican, but they're dark like us. Did you know they got officially recognized by the Mexican government? And I saw this online too, and I think in 2015, right? That's when they're like, okay, it's a small group, but even then, it's like, you don't look like, even though you have features like us, you don't look, you're not fair skinned, you're dark. And we need to understand that we need to all start communicating and learning from one another, because there's something beautiful about, if you think about the Black American culture, it's the most copied culture in the world. Everyone, people talk like them. You see somebody that grew up in the country sounding black, you're like, what? You go to Japan, people want to act like Black Americans. The music, from hip hop to this to that, and a lot of it also has a lot of African influence in them. We're just one people that we've been convinced that we're different, right? And the reason why it happened that way is you divide and you can conquer. It's the oldest trick in the book to take over any place. You
Right.
divide and conquer, because if not, it's almost impossible.
Right. And to your question about the gravity of how it's received in terms of the word Akata and the Negro
N
word,
word. Like, I mean, like, which one
the
weighs?
N word.
Yeah.
But the N word weighs more, in my
Yeah, so
opinion.
that's what I'm saying. The N word weighs more from history and how it came out about. It's like you were saying, it's from a place of struggle, pain, and suffering. And I don't think it's comparable to the word Akata. Akata is just exactly the same thing as they will say someone is a coon. If we're going to measure it in the
That's it.
same
That's looking at it from a negative connotation.
right from a
Yeah,
negative,
yeah.
yeah, it's the same way, and they won't take it. Nobody, if you call a black person a coon, it's not gonna beat you up. It's not gonna fight you. It's not gonna be angry some to an extent. You just call them. You call them. But calling someone an N word and you're not from the same race is very, yeah, it's very terrible.
So you guys heard it all. We'll be we'll be giving our closing statements later. But this is just to say, from what I've deducted, from what I can deduct from what you guys have said so far, is that context actually matters when that word is used. And to my Black American friends out there, the word Akata does not in any way, at least the origin was not meant to be
No malicious at all.
malicious in any way. Now, maybe this later generation use it in certain way or certain context. Then, because I saw a video where the guy, I can't remember the name of the guy was saying these Africans use the Akata as the N word. So when I've heard that, I was shocked. I was like, what? Are you serious? Or did someone, maybe he has one African that told him, oh, that's what to do. Sometimes people say things without deep knowledge about that particular matter. So please, 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 when you hear the word Akata, depending on the country, because I'm sure a Black American will not, an African will not walk up to a Black American and call them Akata to their face.
Right.
But all said and done, that word, from my perspective, from my own experience, does not really come with a negative connotation. Now, the way it's being used the context matters in this. So, any last topics, last
I mean,
thoughts?
yeah, I have a few things I'd like to touch on.
Yeah.
One is to my fellow brothers and sisters, right? That from here in the US, your story did not begin with pain and suffering. It's just a chapter in the book of chapters, right? And I think it's time for all of us to start relating with one another in a positive way. You know, it doesn't serve us any good being islands, right? You have the Africans, you have the Caribbeans, you have the Afro Latinas, you have the Black Americans, all islands. We have so much in common that and the question is, what would a united us look like?
Yeah, can you imagine it?
Right? Can you imagine every black person in the world saying, we're just one? It doesn't matter where I grew up, what culture I'm in, every black person I run into is like me, is family, right? What would that look like? We have so much to give, we have so much we've offered to the world. You go back in histories and you start looking at the emperors and dignitaries in certain places and the blacks, and you look at the Moors, and you start looking at certain things and like, oh wow, wow, there's a lot of black influence in the world that we just don't talk about because we're so divided, right? And the second question I have is blackness cultural? Is it political? Is it historical? And is it just solely racial? Because I think blackness is a beautiful thing. Being a black or a person with melanin, and I think it's a beautiful thing. There's just so much to being black that we don't celebrate. And I know there's a lot going on in the world right now that is, makes you feel like being black is not a cool thing, but it is. Look at the world and you'll see black influence everywhere. So why can't we just all come together and have a civil dialogue and just talk and understand each other better? Make friends with black people from different parts of the world. You'll learn, so you will notice that what you think is just your culture is everywhere. It's a black thing. It's not an American thing, it's not even an African, it's now a black thing. We act the same way in so many scenarios that people that have never been to Africa, they never even met an African, act a certain way that your African friends or your families act. They just you notice blackness is it's a beautiful thing. Now I like people to let us know what they think about that. Is it cultural? Is it political? Is it just purely racial? There's a lot to it.
Yeah, before you come, even I recently heard that even the word Akata is being referred to Nigerians
Going back home.
going back home.
Someone
They
like me.
You understand?
Yeah, someone like me
When
being
a
referred to as an
Nigerian goes back
Akata.
home, other Nigerians refer to them as Akata. Now you can't tell me that they are referring to them as the N word, or in a derogative
True.
way.
You,
So if that's for me personally, I really don't see whether no matter how it's being used, I don't see, because the origin doesn't really connect. The origin of the N word is
it's rooted
factualized. It's rooted in
yeah.
whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Very, very bad stuff. You understand? So take it
Yeah.
away.
So I agree with you guys. And the word akata, it was new to me when I came here and I learned about it. Like we've discussed about from the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
It's not something that's in my diction a lot. Like I don't use it, even with most Americans. I'm Nigerians. I don't use it, so I don't use it like that. So and most the reason why sometimes I don't is because you also have to be considerate about some people's
Yeah, it's for these
feelings,
feelings here.
especially when you understand the fact that they may have not known the origin of the word. So you should give them a leeway to try as much as possible to understand where they're coming from as well.
Yeah.
So I don't use it a lot, but and again, because I have friends who are married to African Americans, their kids are also going to be termed African Americans, and so I can't be calling them what they don't want to be called or
Yeah.
associated with. So that's for me personally. But as we use words, we should understand that they are also the same way people will feel, the same way that you will reject being referred to as something. When you do it to somebody, someone also will feel the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm just bringing the coon part there in comparison with the word akata. I think they're in the same level. You can't compare it to the N word.
No, they're not the
And
same.
like you said, we have to come see. as we use these words, we shouldn't take the humanity out of
Out of it,
us.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, we should focus on the humanity. We're all humans. We're when you cut white or black, when you cut yourself, it's gonna be red blood, right? So I don't know if there's any other color for blood that will flow from your skin. So taking out the humanity out of us as humans and attaching it to just one thing and holding on to that and fighting over that and making it a controversy, we're not going to go anywhere. We need to take the humor as it is, as it comes, or even not take like I've seen people like I always go back to the coon word. I've seen someone call somebody coon, the person doesn't care. See, they just walk around and laugh. And
Yeah.
well, you called me that. Well, that's it, right? But taking it too personal and attaching the negative connotation of it and of everything that can be either good or bad, depending on what you're attaching to it, is not going to help us. We can help each other more than we think if we bring back the humanity in us and try to work together and live in harmony. And that's what I'll say for now. And like we said, we would like opinions, comments, what you think about this topic of today, and you can share in the comment section. And we'd love to see too as well.
So, guys, you heard it all. And with that, we'll wrap it up and see you again next week. Peace out.